This phenomenological case study explores rural hospital employee motivation. There is a rural hospital closure crisis that is sweeping across our country right now. Some of it is due to cuts in government programs, and some of it is due to just a simple lack of patient revenue. But government programs and patient revenue are both needed for a rural hospital to survive. So, in Rankin, Texas, at Rankin County Hospital District, where I work, we're facing the same crisis. So, what we've begun to do, and other rural hospitals have done this too, is add new services to increase patient revenue. So, when you add new services, it it forces you to either A, hire new people, or B, add new roles and new responsibilities to existing employees' current workload. And what we're seeing is we have a group of employees that are gung ho and willing to take on new responsibilities. And then we have one group that has no desire to do anything other than what they're currently doing. And we do have incentives like we'll pay for tuition, you get extra bonuses, raises in pay. But even with that, we see the theoretical framework and rationale for the study. We looked at Maslow's need hierarchy, and that just talks about, your basic needs, food, air, water, things like that. That must be met before your next level of need can be met, and so on and so forth, all the way up to self-actualization. Next, we looked at Vroom's expectancy theory, which just suggests that, the reward must be worth it for the employee. When an employee looks at a reward, is it worth the effort? Will the end result be worth my effort and my time? In Herzberg's two-factor theory, it just explores motivators and hygienes. Motivators are achievement, recognition, and his idea is that produces job satisfaction, while hygienes like pay and job security tend to produce job dissatisfaction. There were five main research questions in this study, and you'll see these questions throughout the study. How does leadership contribute to employee motivation? How does job satisfaction contribute? The local economic climate, how does that contribute to employee motivation? Training requirements, and of course, employee age. You will see these throughout the study. From the researcher perspective, I kind of take a interpretivist worldview, meaning that I take my reality from different experiences with the hospital. So, for one, as a patient of the hospital, I've experienced that, and I understand how that works, and what my family has experienced here at the hospital as patients. Also, as a former board member, where you're making the bigger decisions for the hospital, that provides a unique perspective. And then now, of course, as an RCHD employee, I see the inner workings. So I do have three unique perspectives coming into this study. As far as the methodology, we are going to be using a questionnaire, open-ended questionnaire. 30 RCHD employees will complete the questionnaire. Out of those 30, 12 case studies will be chosen, 12 participants, one participant from each department. So we have 12 departments, one employee from each department will be represented in the case study. And the data collection, again, we will be using an open-ended questionnaire and in-depth interviews. So we will use a note-taking template to help guide the interview process. Interviews are audio recorded. A recap of the responses with the participant will happen at the end to make sure that everything is accurate. A coding system will be used to organize responses, and an assistant will also help double check all the responses, looking at the notes and interview recordings to make sure that we've recorded everything accurately. And then, of course, we will, in data analysis, we will organize the data, read all the data, code the data, identify themes, and then decide how the themes will be presented. And lastly, the ethical considerations. We want to make sure that participants and their responses, that everything is kept anonymous. The last thing we need is, for example, in the leadership, when we're looking at how leadership impacts motivation, for an employee to indicate something negative about their supervisor, the last thing we need is for that supervisor to find out. So steps will be taken to make sure that those ethical considerations are covered and that participants remain anonymous at all times.